So, our project is looking at the way in which we can use creative partnerships to simulate and to create 3D immersive versions of heritage sites. We were most interested in how we can all work together to do that, not just on these projects, but in them, in those environments that we create. And in this particular case, we chose Avebury in Wiltshire. Everybody been to Avebury? Anyone familiar? Yeah, some people. It's part of the Avebury and Stonehenge World Heritage Site, but it's the bit that nobody goes to. It's the bit that everybody goes to Stonehenge. It's a 1 kilometre circumference henge and stone circle monument, which is so big it's got a village in the middle of it. It's actually quite difficult now to get a proper contextual feel for how Avebury actually is. So Avebury is our place of work, and we have simulated it as it may have been about 4,300 years ago, about 2,300 BCE. So what we did was we took the LiDAR data from the Environment Agency, and our partners, Dayden, who are with us today, David Burton, created a grayscale map from that. We then put that into their Fieldscapes platform, a Unity 3D platform. Our partner SatSynth, who worked on the sound and soundscape version of this, then started to build the soundscape, which is the little domes you can see on the top right picture. And then once that was in a particular sort of state and we could all work together, we actually worked together in the environment to put all that together. The Dayden developer did some gorgeous little deer antler picks and grooved ware pottery for us. And we also recorded some human voices. We actually recorded people speaking Finnish, largely because we don't know what the voices sounded like in the Neolithic, but most thinking is that it was probably a pre-Indo-European language, which means it's more like Basque or Finnish. Took Finnish and then SatSynth chopped it into little bits so it didn't sound like Finnish when you could hear it being spoken in the background. And then all of that was put together, in the bottom left slide that you can see is Virtual Avebury. Virtual Avebury then went on display with the National Trust in their barn gallery at Avebury for 45 days for public engagement. We had over 700 people use it at Avebury, and we were also on a couple of exhibitions that Bournemouth University did where we had about another 400 people. So over 1,000 people have experienced Virtual Avebury so far. What did we find out? We found out a lot about communication. Come and talk to us later and we'll tell you all about that. We found out a lot about time management and about understanding all our different contexts as researchers and developers. For some reason, one of those is missing. I'm not too sure why that's happened. One of those pictures is missing, but anyway. Yeah, hang on, I got back. Anyway, there we are. Come back again. We found out a lot about our audience. It's National Trust property. So the graph on the left shows you the age distribution of the people who had a go. And we had the National Trust bulge between 50 and 75, which you might expect. But we also had quite a lot of people in the 16 to 24 age group, which was a particular age group we were interested in. We asked them a lot of questions about their responses to Virtual Avebury. So we've got a lot of data that we're still crunching our way through. Their emotions tended to be very positive. We only bored 3 people out of 388 who filled in the whole questionnaire. And their reactions overall to Virtual Avebury and to VR in museums generally was very positive, as you can see on the right. So, back again, sorry. So, how we would develop it, there's a couple of things that I think we found out were really important from the project. We found no statistical association between age, gender, familiarity with IT, or immersive tendency, which we tried to test through just one question, when those demographics are associated with their responses to Virtual Avebury. So the appeal seems to be really widespread. It's not dependent on how old you are, what sex you are, whether you're interested in IT or not. It seems to be pretty widespread, which is good. And what we found about the partnership, it actually works. The blend of expertise and enthusiasm that we all brought to it meant that it was really successful. And we had all kinds of technical ups and downs, but you do, and we kind of got through them. So what do we want to do next? We want to work together to make Virtual Avebury permanent at the National Trust. They're very keen for it to be permanently available at Avebury. And what they're saying to us is, but we don't know what that means from the point of view of IPR, health and safety, how much input they would have to put into it. So we want to try and work all that out with them as well. So that's me. Yeah. Okay.